Hey guys, it's Olivia Knight back with another game night special, and it's spooky season, so you know what that means? It's time to dim the lights, grab your friends, and pick out some terrifyingly fun board games. Today, I am going to be showing you my 5 favorite spooky season games, ranking from the easiest all the way to the hardest. And let me tell you, there is a thrill for everyone at all levels. So let's jump into it and let's find out which scare is right for you. So first up on my list is the board game Scream. So this is basically the slasher movie in a board game box. I think it is really cool, really well made. It is easy to pick up in a short amount of time. I would highly recommend this for if you're having a dinner party or you're having friends over. Put the movie up in the background and open the game and jump into it. So this is a 3 to 8 victim game. So 3 to 8 players. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes. So again, really good for a party. You can make cocktails. You can honestly be a little tipsy while playing it because it is easy. I personally enjoy a little bit harder board games, so I would rank this probably a 6 out of 10, but I'm gonna leave that for you to decide because everyone's different. Let's jump into gameplay. In Scream, you're plunged into a chilling race against time, where you and your friends must work together to survive Ghostface's deadly game. Your mission? Complete movie scenes by drawing and trading cards. But don't forget to watch out for Ghostface calls. With each call from Ghostface, your chances of survival shrink, and he'll demand cards or force you into a dangerous situation. If you don't deliver, you're one step closer to being his next victim.
What's your favorite scary movie? Show me 3 popcorn, or we'll recreate my favorite scene from Stab.
Each player chooses a character represented by these standees. Your goal is to complete iconic movie scenes by collecting the right combination of scene cards. Every player will be drawing cards from the scene deck and working together to trade cards they need. But Ghostface isn't going to let you off that easily. The phone in the middle of the board isn't just for show. It's how Ghostface will communicate with you throughout the game, throwing obstacles in your way as you try to complete your scenes. Okay, we already lost, but it's fine.
Tisk. Looks like your time is up. Show me 3 popcorn. Right now, or you're dead.
At the start of your turn, you'll draw a scene card. These cards are your lifeline to survival, containing important items, characters, and moments from the Scream movies. You'll need to collect specific combinations of these cards to complete a scene. Each card belongs to a different category, like weapons, locations, or characters, and you'll need to match them up in order to complete one of the movie's famous scenes. To win, you'll need to work fast, complete a set number of scenes, and avoid Ghostface attacks. But here's where things get tricky. You can't complete scenes on your own. You'll need to trade cards with other players to get the right combination of items, characters, and locations. This game is all about teamwork, strategy, and knowing when to hold onto a card or pass it along to a teammate. Once you have the right cards, you can play them in front of you to complete a scene. The more scenes you complete, the closer you get to victory, but remember, Ghostface is always watching. Now let's talk about the most intense part of the game, Ghostface random calls. At any moment, the phone will ring, and when it does, one of you has to answer. Ghostface will issue a challenge or request specific cards. If you don't have the cards he's asking for, or if you fail the challenge, you could lose valuable cards, or worse. Ghostface might demand a specific type of card from your hand, like weapon or location, and if you don't have it, he'll punish you by forcing you to discard the other cards or lose your turn. He's always one step ahead, trying to sabotage your team's efforts. As Ghostface continues to call, the pressure mounts. But if you and your team can work together, trade the right cards, and complete enough scenes, you'll survive the night and win the game. But if Ghostface catches you unprepared, or if you can't keep up with his demands, he'll win and you'll all be his next victims.
It's a wrap. Your movie was dead on arrival.
In Scream, your wits, quick thinking, and teamwork are the only things standing between you and Ghostface's deadly game. Can you complete the scenes in time and survive the night, or will Ghostface turn your last scream into the final act? Just remember, when Ghostface calls, you better be ready with the right cards or else. So next up in our game lineup is the game Horrified. So think of this game as a Dracula meets Frankenstein meets all the rest of your favorite classic scary monsters. It is 1 to 5 players, takes about an hour long, and think of this as kind of a team up with your friends, cooperative style game to defeat the monsters. You have to travel around, you have to do events, you have to pick up tools, and you kind of just all work together to beat the monsters. So yeah, it's a pretty easy board game setup, and let's jump into it. You and your fellow players are brave villagers trying to save your town from a terrifying yet familiar group of monsters. Straight out of the classic horror movies, you'll face creatures like the Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, and the creature from the Black Lagoon, each with their own sinister goals. Your mission? Work together to defeat these legendary monsters before they wreak havoc on the town and everyone in it. Each player takes on the role of a different hero, like a scientist, archaeologist, or even a mayor, all represented by these colorful character standees. Everyone has their own special abilities, which you'll use to navigate the town and deal with the monsters. One of the key mechanics in the game is gathering items, which come in 3 colors, yellow, red, and blue, representing different kinds of supplies like weapons, lab equipment, and holy relics. You'll use these to defeat the monsters and complete objectives. For example, to battle Dracula, you'll need to gather red items to smash his coffins. The more powerful the item, the better your chances of success. Once you've collected the items you need, you can move to a monster's location and spend those items to complete the objectives. Once you've fulfilled all the steps for a monster, you can finally defeat them, bringing you one step closer to victory. After every player's turn, it's the monster's chance to strike. You'll draw a monster card that moves the monsters, causes events, or sends villagers into danger. The monsters will chase after players and villagers, and if you're caught in their path, watch out. They'll attack, causing damage or forcing you to drop precious items. Villagers in the same space as a monster are in immediate danger. If they are caught, they'll be removed from the game. It's up to you to escort villagers to safety while managing the ever-looming threat of the monsters. To win the game, you and your teammates must defeat all the monsters before the terror level rises too high. Every time a monster attacks, fails to be stopped, or a villager is taken out, the terror level rises. If it gets too high, the monsters win and your town is doomed. If you can take out all of the monsters before the terror level maxes out, you win, and the village is saved. But be prepared, because the game will keep you on your toes, and the monsters don't go down without a fight. Horrified is a thrilling cooperative adventure where classic monsters come to life, and every decision matters. Can you work together to save the town, or will the monsters overrun your village? Gather your team, pick up your items, and get ready to face your worst nightmares. Just remember, there's always more than one way to defeat a monster, if you survive long enough to figure it out. So if I had to give a review of Horrified, I would probably give it a nice 7 out of 10. I do, again, think it's a little too easy for me, but it is enjoyable, easy to pick up. You could still play it with people who maybe don't necessarily play board games that often. It has that element of having all of the classic monsters in it, so I think, that's really cool. But yeah, it is just kind of for like a shorter 1 hour. Maybe you have people who don't want to stay that long. 7 out of 10. Now let's jump into something a little bit more difficult. Ooh, guys, it is getting serious with this one. The Night Cage. So this game, if I had to say one thing about it, I would say the artwork is just phenomenal. It sets an atmosphere unlike any other board game that I have ever seen. I would say that this one is one game that actually spooked me out, like scared me, like I was watching a scary movie. It gives you that eerie, dark, trapped feeling. I don't know. Definitely turn down the lights, like light some candles while playing this one, and you will get in the mood. It is a 1 to 5 player game. The box says it takes about an hour, but I would plan for 2. It is a tile placement game. I would compare it more to like playing chess than actually having a storyline to it. The backstory to this is you are trapped in an infinite dark cage with monsters and pits, and you are trying to find a key and get to a gate. If you are playing with other people, all of the people in your game have to go get a key, and they all have to make it to the gate before your candle runs out. And if your candle runs out and you can't get to that gate, you lose. So I cannot wait to show you the artwork on this one. So let's get into it. Welcome to the abyss, where only darkness and terror await. In the night cage, you and your friends are trapped in a pitch black labyrinth, armed with nothing but candles to light your way. This is a cooperative survival game where you'll have to stick together, avoid deadly creatures, and find the keys to escape before your candles burn out. But beware, because in this game, what you can't see can and will hurt you. The main pieces you'll be working with are your candle tokens and player standees. These represent your character as they navigate through the maze. You'll be exploring a labyrinth that consistently shifts and changes, and the only thing guiding you is the flicker of your fragile candle. You'll also have labyrinth tiles, which form the paths that you'll walk as various threats, including monsters, will haunt you in the dark. The labyrinth is built randomly as you move, so no 2 games are ever going to be the same. To set up the game, each player places their standee on a starting tile in the center of the board. The rest of the labyrinth is unknown, made up of face-down tiles you'll reveal as you move. Your goal is to collect keys and then find a gate to escape. Hidden in the darkness are the keys. Each player needs to collect 1 to escape, but finding them is just the beginning. You'll also need to locate a gate, and all players must reach it at the same time to win. On your turn, you'll move 1 space and reveal new tiles as your candle lights up the path ahead. You'll draw tiles from the supply and place them adjacent to your current location. The tiles will reveal corridors, walls, keys, or monsters. But here's the catch. As you move away, the paths behind you disappear into the darkness. When you leave a tile behind, it gets removed from the board, symbolizing the darkness swallowing it back up. If you return to that area later, you'll have to explore it all over again. Your candle only lights up tiles directly adjacent to you, so your visibility is extremely limited. Plus, your candles won't last forever. Every time you reveal a monster tile or the group faces certain challenges, your candles burn down, run out of light, and it's game over. Monsters are relentless. If one is revealed, you'll need to avoid it or risk losing precious light. Some monsters can even destroy the tiles you're standing on, dropping you into the abyss if you're not careful. Teamwork is major in the night cage. If you and another player are standing close together, you can share light, making it easier to navigate the maze. But if you wander too far from each other, the darkness becomes overwhelming and you'll quickly find yourself lost. Stick together, share your light, and make smart decisions. The more coordinated you are, the better your chances of finding all the keys and making it to the gate are. Once the keys have been collected and the gate is found, the race to escape begins. Every player must make their way to the gate at the same time. Even if one person is left behind, it's game over. If you can get everyone to the gate with their keys intact before your candles burn out, you win. But remember, the labyrinth is constantly shifting and every move could be your last. The Night Cage is an eerie, tense game of survival, where every step you take could lead you deeper into the dark or straight into the jaws of a monster. If you love games that combine strategy with a constant sense of dread, this one is perfect for you. So grab your candles, hold on tight to your light, and prepare to escape or be lost in the maze forever. So, review of The Night Cage. This one was just truly a pleasure to play. I thought, again, that the artwork on this is unlike anything I've ever seen before. You know, your girl loves chess, and it also has the same methodology as that. So because of these two aspects, I think I'm gonna rate it a 9.5 out of 10. I really, really love this game. It is a little bit complicated, so maybe when you're picking your friends to play, pick some people with a little bit more patience. But other than that, great game to play. Would highly recommend. So next up on our terrifying list of board games is Betrayal at House on the Hill. And this is the 3rd edition. So this game, I would say, is about equally as complex as the last game in our lineup. I went back and forth so much on which one to put 4th and 5th that I'm just gonna call it a tie, because they both are kind of similar in the aspect of they have complex themes to them. If you are into board games that have a storyline behind it, this is definitely one for you. This is 3 to 6 players. It says 60 to 90 minutes on the box. I would maybe plan for 2 or 3 hours. I don't know, maybe me and my friends are just slow when we play it, but I would say a couple hours at minimum to get through this. But this game is really cool because you start out co-op. You are in a house, wandering room to room, you know, discovering different areas of the house. As you move through it, you pick up different items. Some are normal items and some are spooky omens. And at a certain point in this game, it triggers a haunt in the mansion. And then when a haunt occurs, you have no idea if the game's gonna stay co-op, switch to one versus everyone. There's just so many different outcomes. I think there's about 50 plus outcomes of the haunts. So the replayability of this game is really high. I think even if you played 50 times, you know, it's still worth it. You're with different people, you can act out, you can role play in this game. I think of, you know, Paranormal Activity, any classic, you know, Netflix haunted house scary movie. Yeah, let me just show you. Welcome to the eerie world of Betrayal at House on the Hill, a game of exploration, suspense, and treachery. You and your friends are brave explorers entering a haunted mansion, but something sinister lurks within these walls. One of you will betray the group, and it's up to the others to survive the horrors that await. Every game is different, with new rooms to discover, dark secrets to uncover, and terrifying creatures ready to strike at any moment. Each player starts by choosing a unique explorer represented by these detailed miniatures. Every explorer has their own set of attributes: might, speed, sanity, and knowledge, which will be crucial as you investigate the haunted house. These traits will fluctuate as you encounter terrifying events in the house. If one of your traits drops too low, you could end up dead, or worse. Throughout the game, you'll be drawing cards from 3 key decks: events, items, and omens. Each card brings its own surprises, some helpful, others, not so much. At the start, the house is mostly a mystery. On your turn, you'll move your character to an unexplored area, and when you do, you'll draw a room tile to reveal the next part of the mansion. The house is built randomly with each game, so no 2 layouts are ever the same. Rooms will often come with surprises, like items to aid you in your journey, or events that can change your fate in an instant. Maybe you'll find a hidden weapon, or maybe you'll stumble upon a trap that chips away at your sanity. The real danger lies in omen cards. Each time you draw one, the house's dark influence grows stronger, bringing you closer to the haunt. The moment when the game takes a chilling turn. When the haunt roll fails, the real fun begins. The game transforms, and one of the players is revealed to be a traitor. Their goal now is to stop the rest of the group, whether it's by summoning a dark force, releasing a monster, or luring the explorers to their doom. When the haunt begins, the traitor and the survivors each receive separate haunt books, the traitor's tome for the betrayer, and the secrets of survival for the heroes. These books outline new objectives and special rules which vary depending on which omen triggered the haunt. There are over 50 different scenarios to uncover. As the traitor, your job is to stop the other players by using your new abilities and any dark forces you've summoned. Meanwhile, the survivors must work together using the items they've found and their wits to overcome the traitor's plans. Each haunt directly plays out differently. Sometimes you'll face off against a horde of monsters, other times you'll be racing against time to find a hidden object or escape the house before it's too late. To win, the traitor must complete their new sinister goal, while the survivors need to figure out how to stop the traitor and fulfill their own objective. Sometimes that means defeating a powerful monster, other times it means escaping the mansion before it collapses. Combat, skill checks, and clever item use all come into play as the game reaches its thrilling conclusion. Will the survivors escape the house alive, or will the traitor's dark plan succeed? In Betrayal at House on the Hill, every game is a unique experience filled with mystery, suspense, and betrayal. The constantly changing house, the unexpected haunt scenarios, and the thrill of the unknown make this game a must-play for anyone who loves a good scare. Just remember, trust no one, because the traitor could be anyone, even you. So for my review of Betrayal at the House on the Hill, if you enjoy surprises and a little bit of backstabbing, I think this is the perfect game for you. Again, I love the story element to it. I think it's so fun. You're like moving around basically a movie script, you know? You're building your own story in this. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. It's complex, it's fun, everyone gets really into it and involved. I would say 10 out of 10, which is kind of rare for me. So, yep. Last but not least, we have Unfathomable. We are diving deep with this one. So this one, I would say, is the most complex out of all the games. I know I just said that number 4 and number 5 were equal, but I've thought about it and I changed my mind. Unfathomable is a 3 to 6 player game. It takes 4 to 6 hours. I think the board game says 2 to 4. It takes 4 to 6. Set aside the time because you do not want to miss out on any of the gameplay. This game is really unique. It is set on a ship and you are trying to get to Boston, but you have to worry about the dangers lurking in the sea below you. There is monsters trying to attack your ship, and you also have to worry about your friends, the other passengers on the ship, turning into hybrid monsters and secretly sabotaging the ship as you're trying to get to Boston. So this game is fun. It is cooperative. It is kind of cooperative. It's cooperative to a certain point until people start secretly getting infected. The board itself is really cool. It looks like a ship. The monsters are figurines. The Big Mama, Big Papa monster are these giant, scary looking figurines. They're really, really cool and I can't wait to show you. So yeah, let's just jump into gameplay. Welcome aboard the SS Atlantica, a ship bound for Boston, but something dark is lurking beneath the waves. In Unfathomable, you and your fellow passengers must survive a deadly voyage while dealing with the saboteurs, monsters, and hidden traitors. But be warned, not everyone on board can be trusted. There are traitors among you working with the deep ones to sink the ship before it reaches port. Now let's get into the components. The game takes place on this beautifully detailed board, which represents the ship itself. You've got key locations like the bridge, where you steer the ship, the cargo hold, where the essential supplies are stored, and the brig, where you can lock up any suspected traitors. Each player on the role of one of the ship's crew or passengers, represented by these detailed character standees and matching character cards, Every character has their own unique abilities and actions, which will come in handy as you try to survive the horrors of the deep. Players will use skill cards to complete tasks, fight off monsters, and repair the ship, but hidden among the crew are traitors. Players secretly working with the deep ones to sabotage your efforts. You'll need to watch your back because you never know who is really on your side. As far as gameplay goes, the game is played over a series of rounds, and on each player's turn, they'll draw skill cards, move their character to different locations on the ship, and take actions like attacking monsters, fixing damage, or steering the ship closer to Boston. To win, the crew must keep the ship afloat and travel a set distance on the destination track to reach Boston. But there's a catch! Each time you move the ship, you burn through precious resources, and the deep ones are always lurking, ready to strike. There's a lot of threats in this game. Throughout the game, the ship will be attacked by horrifying creatures from the deep. Deep ones, hybrids, and the mighty Father Dagon. They'll climb aboard the ship, causing chaos, damaging sections, and injuring passengers. To fight off these monsters, players will need to roll dice and use their skills, strength, cunning, and leadership to keep the team from being overrun. But it's not just the monsters. Damage from the attacks piles up too. If too many parts of the ship are damaged, or critical resources like fuel or food run out, it is game over for the crew. Now here's the real twist. Some of the players are secretly traitors. Their goal is to sabotage the crew's efforts by causing damage, wasting resources, or secretly helping the monsters. And no one knows who the traitors are until it's too late. If you suspect someone of being a traitor, you can lock them up in the brig, but be careful, accusing the wrong person can weaken the crew even more. Trust is a fragile thing on the SS Atlantica. To win, the loyal crew members must steer the ship safely to Boston while managing resources, fighting off monsters, and repairing damage. But if the traitors succeed in sinking the ship, or if the crew runs out of resources, it's a watery grave for everyone aboard.